All right, we are back for test number 2. We're going to jump right on into another image from Monterey Car Week last year. And yeah, let's just dive right on into it. All right, we are back in Lightroom. And we're just going to jump into it. All right, so this is for the EXB100 prototype that Bentley Motors brought out, and they were shooting on 17 Mile Drive. And decided to pull over and get some shots of my own along with 4,000 other people. It was pretty crazy. And not literally 4,000 other people, but there was a lot. So you can go, usually what I do is start with either a preset. These are some film presets I use on occasion. But you know what? Let's do it raw this time. Let's not go into that. We'll just jump right on in. All right, so here we go. This is a good example for starting off with a dark image, but I usually try to expose for the sky or the ambiance, I guess, of the image. I just usually try to expose for not really the sky, but foreground. So here, as you can tell, the sky and the ocean is probably a perfect exposure, but the car is being backlit. So we're going to have to definitely work on that. And with Lightroom, it's not like Photoshop. I can't cut out the car and work with each individual layer. So you have to do a lot of stuff with the adjustment brush tool. But all right, let's just get started. So you can see the histogram is the opposite of what usually what you want. So first thing we're going to do is bump up those shadows, baby. Bump up the shadows, bring down the blacks a tad. Kind of bump the contrast. Usually with the image being so dark, you don't want to make it too dark. And then I know this image is going to be way too cool, so I'm going to give it that nice warm sunset feel. I'm going to put the clarity up a little bit. Be careful with the texture. I don't know if we want to go for... Yeah, you know what? Let's go for a softer look. Pull that dehaze just a little bit. Can bump that vibrance and those colors up. Pull a little bit of the tint up. Don't want to get too pink. I'd rather have it more orange. All right, I think it's a decent start. Uh-oh. Getting work emails. Let me check this real quick. We're good, folks. All right. I was shooting these shots with... Oh, this one's actually with my Canon 5D Mark III, my Tamron lens, so there's not a whole lot of fringing that happens. But with my Leica, especially with the older lenses like the 50mm I use, we do get some purple fringing, especially in the highlights. So I always have to kind of check. All right, so since we pulled the shadows up, whenever you pull the shadows up, you're always going to get noise. So next step is going to be, let me make sure I didn't add any. Okay, I didn't add any grain, detail. Sorry, I'm probably blazing through this too, especially for people doing this first time, but always with sharpening, pull it up, pull the masking up so it's not sharpening in the smoother spots of the image. And then here we go, noise reduction. So you can see right here in the wheel, and definitely for the stream, you're going to have to bump that sucker up to 1080 to be able to see it. I mean, I don't know how bad it's compressing because I work on a 2K monitor, so it might be compressing, but there's a little bit of noise in here. So I'll just start pulling this sucker up. That's already smoothed it out. Pull the contrast and color so it doesn't fringe as bad. Okay, that looks fine. That looks pretty smooth. All right. So it's only been, I don't know, I'm trying to find a timer somewhere. It's only been a couple minutes, 3-4 minutes, but image is already looking dramatically better than what it was. So you can actually probably add a little bit more contrast, make it a little bit more poppy. little poppier. All right. Actually, you know what? I am going to leave the sky. I am not going to touch it. But what I am going to do, just add a slight grade to the ground. I'll do blacks with the shadows. Going to force the perspective up there a little bit. Next is going to be doing the exposure on the vehicle. EXP100. So let me turn on down here. Show selected mask overlay. Kind of go over and yeah, this is not a, for the stream purpose for the test, this is not going to be precision. Be real quick. But a lot of my Instagram pictures I post, I don't spend a whole lot of time editing them, especially because it's just for Instagram. But if I'm actually working on a project for a client, I take my sweet time to make sure everything's perfect for what they want. But for the purpose of this, it'll be way too long, especially for a stream. I don't want to do the stream for freaking like 18 hours. I'm just kidding. I don't think I've ever taken that long on an edit before. I think the longest edit I've ever done was probably like 6-7 hours, but that required a lot of layers. Oh, man, I can't even tell you how many layers it was, but that was a long time ago when I actually used to do this a lot more. Just kind of go over every little surface. Yeah, and there's a little window and shit up there you don't need to really worry about. Kind of get it on the feather here, just kind of feather it back. It's probably fine. Feather along the edges. That's one little trick too. You can bump it up a little bit and then you just kind of do the feather along the top edge so it doesn't bleed into the sky. But here in this case, it shouldn't be too bad. All right, let's see how that looks once we start messing around with it. Pull that exposure up. Not bad. Makes a nice little, whoa, what'd I do? Actually looks kind of cool coming through there. A little too bright. I might need to calm it down a little bit. Shadows. And then since we brightened it up, to restore some of the blacks. Otherwise, it's going to start looking all nasty like that. Yeah, you don't want that. Oh, apparently I put some of that layer mask over here. That is a no-no. Yeah, and it's still looking bad. So black, black, black. Actually, you could probably pull the blacks and pull the shadows down so it only does the shadows. Looks good. Pull the highlights up a little bit. It's just the highlights. Because if you do the whites, whites up looks good too. But now that I pulled that up, I'm gonna pull shadows down a little bit more and blacks more to kind of compensate. Or you can do contrast. There's multiple ways to do it. All right. Check my mask. Everything is looking dandy. All right. If you want to make it pop, you can pull clarity, but you want to be careful with the clarity because if you pull it way too much, start looking like what's that game coming out? Cyberpunk. Yeah, you don't want that. If you do it, it'll soften it up, which can have its advantages. So we'll just do it just a little bit of clarity, little bit of texture, and then we'll dehaze the rest just to get rid of any really, really bright glares. All right. Let's see. Where in the heck? Oh yeah, brush size. Kind of brush out the back a little bit because it was already. Oh, don't like that. There we go. Done. All right. Before and after still, it's looking pretty good. Yeah, you can see some noise, especially in the shadows here a little bit. Oops. Do a little bit more noise reduction, but not doing too much where it starts looking muddy. And this is where you can actually use third-party software in Photoshop too that works way better than Adobe's version, even though Adobe's noise reduction is getting a lot better with every update that they're coming out with, which is pretty cool. So it requires a lot less downloads for Photoshop and whatnot. Lens correction you can go and do. You can do profile corrections. I usually just try to do chromatic aberration. You can do profile corrections, which in this case looks good, especially with the Canon lenses, because I shot this with my 70 to 200, but I did shoot this at 70 millimeter, so that kind of flattens it out because there was a weird little curve. And now work on that horizon, because if you know me, crooked horizons bug the living crap out of me. Looks pretty good. All along the same exact line here. I was going to point at it, but you can't see my freaking hand on the screen, so we won't worry about it. All right. Oh, wow. I actually have 2 people watching. I thought I was going to have a fat 0 and be here talking to myself like a loser. All right. So it's looking pretty good. So if you want to make this look all crazy like a video game, you can add this little rounded effect in here. Make sure it's not inverted. I don't think. Oh, whoa. I was completely wrong. We will invert that sucker. Pull it up, and here what we're going to do is we're going to work on that sunlight kind of coming in from this angle over here. Pull the center point because that's where it derives most of the power. Pull it, make it a little bit wider. And what we can do is here is pull up highlights, and you can pull up that temperature a little bit. It'll only do it in the highlights too. So you can see in the door here, it's getting a little bit of warmth. And this is just a really fast way to do it in Lightroom. In Photoshop, there's a much more accurate way to do this, which I have a Wacom tablet, or Wacom, however you want to pronounce it. But that's when I whip out this bad boy here. It's a pressure tablet for this, and it's really good for changing scenes out and also actually working with brushes within Photoshop Lightroom. The tablets don't really work that well, but you can tell I use it a lot because it's dusty as hell. I'm going to put it back, but it's really good for if I was going to be taking the EXP100 concept and putting it in a completely different location. But why would we do that? Because this was shot in Monterey, so you don't want to mess with that. Awesome scenes and everything, but here this was a total zoom in on the EXP100 concept, so it was don't really need to do too much. There's not much landscape. I don't even know if I got any good landscape shots, but yeah, like these came out super flat. I don't know why, because it was during sundown, but they came out really flat. But anyways, back to the image at hand that we are editing. So here's 2 images back to back. This is what it initially looked like, and now we are here. And if you're jumping into the stream a little bit late, you can go back and rewatch it from the beginning. All right, so here we are. Temperature, I mean, I think it looks good. People might say it's a little too hot, but I think it's okay. I want that sunny effect. Make it look kind of bigger than life than what it really was, but there are a few other things I would like to do. So one thing that's kind of driving me crazy is the highlights on the door. I think they're a little too much. Honestly, just need to pull them back just a little bit, because when I always do a test where you close your eyes, open it, and see where your eye is naturally drawn to. And if it's not drawn to what you want, you need to fix it. So when I shut my eyes and look at it, my eyes go straight to that door. So I'm going to pull the highlights down a little bit. You have to be careful, because if you do it too much, it won't look natural. But so far it's, oops, misclick. Awesome. So I pulled the highlights down. Still looks decent. It's getting a little too orange, so pull some blue back into it. Maybe a little bit of green. Actually, no, it looks a little bit better with the tint. Get rid of it around here. All right. It's looking better. My eye doesn't just focus right on it. I mean, there's little things in here. This little guy right here. Can probably fix that. Go back to the layer. Let me look at it. Work. Yeah, and when you think about it too, if it's just for Instagram, well, this won't be because it's not cropped the right way. What everybody likes, that 4x5 shenanigans this way. Done. All right. Looks pretty good. And I mean, if you're shooting this for an actual manufacturer, which I'm not cool enough. Other little things you can do that they would like to see. Actually, I've shot for a manufacturer before, but one thing you can do is branding. Exposures a little tiny bit, a little bit of highlights. Whites, you don't want to be too much. Done. There, they just stand out just a tad bit more. And that's cool. And you can get into, like, I know some people get really crazy with working on the highlights, shadows, and they kind of go in here and freaking play with each individual piece. So anything that would be in the highlights and or in Photoshop be known as dodging and burning. So you can do it in Lightroom, but I'm lazy. What can I say? Pull highlights up, pull the whites up a little bit. Make the wheel kind of stand out. Oh, done. Make it a little stand out a little bit better, especially if you're trying to match the wheels, which I knew this front wheel is a little bit brighter, and that actually, yeah, it's a little bit brighter. So you can kind of do the same thing, kind of go through. And this, obviously, like I said 15,000 other times at the beginning of this, I'm not going for precision here, just going over the highlights to make it stand out. Highlight, highlight. Oh God, what did I just do? Man, rookie mistake. Whites, boom. Good enough for government work. Am I right? All right. This, work computer. We are looking good so far. I mean, you can do other things too. You can add the illumination on the taillights and everything, but I really don't want to do that. So pretty much the general consensus of this video is that I am lazy when it comes to editing. I was going to laugh, but it's true. You can still see some noise in here. Yeah. I mean, obviously on Instagram, you will not be able to see that because they have major compression. All right. I think it's looking good. I think it's looking a lot better than what we had before. I think it's definitely postable, if you ask me. I'd probably do this one on Facebook though. And then you can get super overboard if you want and go major sunlight. This one had a total light leak in it though. Yeah. Yeah, this is like an overkill edit, but sometimes those are a lot of fun. But yeah, that is it for that one right now. I just wanted to get these couple tests out of the way. And especially for the weekend, I'm probably going to go to Newport tomorrow morning, maybe Supercars by the Sea and Huntington Beach. I'm not really sure yet, but I'll probably end up just doing Newport. Consistently good, interesting show. But I don't know. We'll see. I always like to change my mind first thing in the morning. But I think, yeah, I think right now that is it for this stream. This quick little test editing sesh. But yeah, when the comments or the feed comes up, feel free to leave feedback. Message me on Instagram. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. I understand a lot of these editing videos have structure. Mine probably had zero structure to it, but whatever, it's cool. But anyways, gonna end the stream now. Hope you learned something. Next time I'll try to go slower because I know it's kind of blasting through everything. But yeah, that's about it for now. Thank you for watching the two of you that are on right now. But all right, take it easy and have a nice rest of your day.